Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELA Week 2, Lesson 3, Day 2. Wow, we're doing this all over again. You guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed Monday's lesson. I really loved reading that book. It brought back so many memories. But I hope you guys were able to continue to connect to that reading and be mindful that the weekly quiz will be coming up again. All right? So let's go over a few things. So remember that you're writing your journal entry in the Google Classroom and I will respond accordingly. So that means you will type it into the Google Classroom and then I will respond after that, okay? Because I want to talk to you guys. I honestly haven't seen all of you guys and I miss seeing you guys in the classroom. We haven't seen each other for over a month. I never knew that March 13th was going to be my last time actually seeing you guys. Um, for the rest of the year. And, it makes me sad when I think about it, but I am so glad that we get to spend the next couple of months together virtually and that we get to kind of still communicate. And this is our way of communicating because when I let you guys go off to eighth grade, I want you guys to know that you guys are loved and appreciated and cared for. Okay. So please be transparent. No one else gets to respond. No one else gets to say anything to your on your piece, but I do want to see what you guys are writing about, okay? And I will respond accordingly, just like I did on Monday. All right, so let's just review a few vocabulary words that we covered this week. We know that we are given 6 vocabulary words every single week to review and to go over. The first word being chastened or chastise, which means to discipline or punish, right? Suffering, the state of undergoing pain, distress, or hardship. When we look back at our story, we know that Gary was being chastised by his mother after she told him not to go down Sarah Street, and he did it anyway. She came outside with her belt in hand and she was chastising him, disciplining him for his misbehavior. Suffering, the state of undergoing pain, obviously, and distress and hardship. He dealt with that once his leg was ran over by the young boy. He dealt with a lot of suffering. Impressive means invoking administration, admiration through size, quality, or skill, grand, imposing, or awesome. Imaginative, having or showing great creativity or inventiveness. I mentioned that you guys all have great imagination, especially when it comes down to TikTok. Superior, high in rank, status, or quality. That means you are superior. That means you're higher than everyone else. And then we have ashamed, which means embarrassed or guilty because of one's actions, characteristics, or associations. All right. So let's just review The Bicycle by Gary Soto, shall we? All right. So as we know, Gary Soto has this cool bike. He wants to ride around the neighborhood. His mom said, please do not go down Sarah Street. Sarah Street, they have those bad dogs that will eat you up. They have a hungry eye. And he was like, mom could be possibly lying because mom lied about this other situation about the rainbow. And I don't know if she was being honest or truthful. So I'm just going to do it anyway. He rode down that one time and things were fine and he didn't have an issue. But the next time he rolled down is when this young boy rolled over his leg and caused him much pain. He couldn't go down the street doing all these creative, imaginative, cool tricks that he was doing before. He had to go down the street trying to get home as quickly as he could. And the moment his mom laid eyes on him was when he actually fell on Sarah Street and was in a lot of pain. So I hope that your writing on this covered a lot of those things, focusing on what the central ideal of the text was and what pretty much the author wanted you to know. Like when I was making my schema about my mother and how she told me not to get on the 14 bus, and how I had to sit back and say, I should have listened because now I had to experience the consequences of not listening. Okay? So that is a summary of The Bicycle. Now let's go over our words that we use for poetry because it is Poetry Wednesday. So we know what what poetry is. It's a literary work in which special intensity is given to the expression of feelings and ideas by the use of distinctive style, rhythm, poems collectively, or a genre of literature. Now, a poet obviously is someone who writes the poem. Like people like Maya Angelou, Gary Soto is also known to be not just a writer but also a poet. I'm sure you can name a few of your other poets as well. Did you know that a rapper could be a poet too? Yes. Rappers create stanzas, which is a group of lines forming the basic recurring metric unit in a poem or a verse, which gives you verses of a song. For example, um if Bad Bunny wrote a song and he's going over a verse, that is a stanza. right? He's giving you a stanza with a whole bunch of metaphors that focus on the figure of speech in which a word or a phrase is applied to an object or action in which it's literally not that applicable. So he's making connections between things, even though he might not be using like or as. Then you have assonance, which is the repetition of a vowel sounds within noun rhyming words, right? Alliteration is the occurrence of the same letter at the sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words, like our tongue twisters, seashells by the seashore. In rhyme is the usage of rhyme or rhyming words, which usually are at the end of the line. And so whenever you're looking at a poem, you should always notice, does this poem rhyme? Because if the poem rhymes at the end, then we know that they're using in rhyme, right? Because as we get deeper into analyzing poetry, you're gonna have to know all these literary devices so you can be able to make those connections. Okay. Our poem of the week is Langston Hughes's Mother to Son. Now, as you can see, this picture right here, does this picture look a little familiar to you? That little kid right there? That picture right there was me at the age of, I believe I was 5 years old, maybe six. I think I was six because my birthday's in March, and usually I am the age that I'm supposed to turn for the next school year before the school year is out. So I noticed I'll start the school year like when I was in kindergarten, I started the school year at 5, but I know I ended the school year at 6. Or like when I was a senior in high school, I started the school year at 17, but I ended the school year at 18. It always worked like that because my birthday was in March. So right here is my kindergarten graduation. I am 6 years old. I am so excited. I remember waking my mother up that day because I was so excited about my kindergarten graduation. And as you can see, the excitement in my cheese. I was cheesing so hard because I was so excited. I still remember the day like it was yesterday. Like I remember waking my mama up on the day of graduation and being like, Mama, today is my graduation day, and waking her up just to get her to take me to the graduation and wanting to get ready. I was trying to get ready way before the time was for me to get there because I just loved school. All right, but I'm gonna read you guys some Langston Hughes, Mother to Son. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me has been no crystal stair. It had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up and places with no carpet on the floor bare. But all the time, I've been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So, boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down those on the steps because you find it's kind of hard. Don't you fall now, but it's still going, honey. It's still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Huh, interesting. What do you think Mama is saying here? What is she saying? Maybe Mama's saying life hasn't been perfect. Maybe Mama's saying that, even though you want to give up, don't give up. There were moments where I wanted to give up on my teacher's program. I said, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore. I do not want to be a teacher. I don't want to do this. And my mom said, No, you should still do it. You've gotten so far. You've worked so hard. Why would you stop following your dreams? Why would you stop following your goals when you put in so much work to do whatever you wanted to do? Come on. I had it hard. I had to work hard. My mother told me I had to work hard to get everything I had. At least you're in a place where you can get an education and do what you need to do in order to be successful. And that always changed my outlook on everything. Okay? So let's take a look at our questions here. So obviously, as we mentioned before, like we did last week when we read our poems, that we need to do at least 3 full read-throughs in our poem. 3 full read-throughs. Hey, Mr. Y, because every time you read something, it gives you a deeper understanding of what the text is trying to tell you. Now, I'm not sure, but because I know my seventh graders, and I know each and every one of you from UCLA to UCSC, I know that you guys probably only read it once and answered the questions. Let's try reading it 3 times, okay? So the first read through, you're going to answer the question, what are the metaphors shown in the poem, right? That's through the first read through. The second read through, I want you to answer who is speaking in the poem, who is she speaking to, and what is she saying? And lastly, you're going to write, what is the theme of the poem? What qualities and characteristics does the mother show through her words and actions? Like, as you know, Mr. McMillan, I could completely answer all these questions right now, but I want you to do it on your own. I obviously can draw connections specifically to just my mother alone. My mother, like when I read stories about my mom, I can about mothers, I automatically draw connections to what my mom has always told me. And when you get older, you're gonna remember those things that your parents told you, what your grown-ups have told you. Your grown-ups might have told you, no, you can't go to the movies over at the Galleria, and you were upset about that. But I really wanted to go to the Galleria and go to the Americana and hang out with my friends. But you never know what your parents were protecting you from, or no, you can't go and take the bus all the way down to downtown LA. That's a little too far. So you never realize that sometimes your parents are actually really, really protecting you and keeping you safe, keeping you from the hard parts and the hard things. And we also learned this when we were reading The Bike by Gary Soto. Gary Soto was in a similar situation where his mother told him something that really was important, something that he always remembered. Okay. All right, scholars, I'll talk to you soon. I love you guys for real. You guys have a great, great Wednesday.